In this episode of The VUE, we get the inside scoop on the transformer replacement out at Little Goose Lock and Dam, and get a first-hand account of how the team sprang into action creating the catalyst for the installation of total monitoring systems. And it's that time of year, time to hit the water. For owners of docks along the shoreline, we've got vital information concerning permit guidelines. That's all coming up on this episode of The VUE, the Walla Walla Districts digital news magazine.
On March 18, 2021, transformer T2C at Little Goose Lock and Dam failed. The transformer was not in use at the time, and project staff rushed to the site and began cleaning up oil spilling out of the transformer.
I'm Jack Bryson. I'm the Chief of Tech at Little Goose Lock and Dam, and I was on site the day that our transformer failed. My engineers and I were in our office when the event happened. It was quite violent. The building shook quite a bit and a pretty loud explosion.
The day that it happened, it was one of those days that you don't look forward to at all, to coming into work, but it also gave us an opportunity to see the quality and caliber of our workforce. They did an exemplary job responding to that emergency that day, limiting the fallout to the environment, limiting the damage to the rest of the equipment here, getting the plant back up and running, producing power for the nation. It was a testament to their professionalism.
At the time, there were some fish biologists that were out there. They were the first ones out there. And yeah, we immediately started, safing off the area and just protecting personnel just in case something else was a secondary explosion or something like that.
This large 350,000-pound transformer failed during an internal fault that occurred for only 0.08 seconds, but unleashed enough power to permanently bend 4 sheets of half-inch thick steel plating.
Now that the transformer is replaced, we are concerned about keeping or at least knowing when something like this might happen again. So we have a couple of projects in the works. We are installing dissolved gas analyzers, continuous monitoring on there, which we already have those installed on our T2 bank. We have some other total monitoring systems coming in that'll be installed on all of the transformers, both T1 and T2. The monitoring system will help us possibly see something going on before the event. When we have the forensic analysis of the old transformer, hopefully we can find something that went wrong inside the transformer.
USA's Little Goose operations and maintenance personnel worked quickly to protect the area, and with the help of Bonneville Power Administration, were able to replace the transformer for an on-site spare.
For those who live along the river, the idea of having a boat dock can be attractive. However, specific laws, rules, and procedures go into installing a boat dock, and it's important to be aware of the process, especially for those living adjacent to federally managed shorelines. For example, most of the shoreline on Lake Wallula, the reservoir behind McNary Dam, is federally managed by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Walla Walla District. In 2012, the Walla Walla District developed a plan, the McNary Shoreline Management Plan, to properly balance environmental stewardship, protection of cultural resources, and the public's desire for recreation. Environmental effects. While boat docks may seem innocuous, development along the shoreline can pose problems from an environmental perspective. Lawns and artificial structures can interfere with wildlife habitat, limiting nesting opportunities for birds, causing erosion, or providing improper shade along the river's edge. A natural shoreline might have trees and shrubs, providing dappled patches of shade where young salmon can find food and enjoy the cover and cooler water. This natural covering is very different from the shade created by a dock, which can provide ideal hiding spots for predators. Ambush predators like bass often use shadows created by docks and pilings to hide before darting out to eat small fish like young salmon. Because some docks and other structures pose a problem to the Corps' mission of environmental stewardship and hamper recreational access to the river, the Shoreline Management Plan comes into play. There are rules applicants must follow when applying to build a boat dock. For example, docks must allow for at least 50% light penetration, using grading with minimal floats underneath to avoid creating hiding places for predators. On pillars and posts that are used to hold docks in place, If someone isn't using an auger-type system and chain which holds it underwater, cones should be placed on top to stop birds from landing, perching, and using that as their line of sight to pick off young salmonoids or adults. There are also materials to consider. There are certain materials that are more environmentally friendly. For instance, the use of certain metals over pressure-treated woods, which may release leachates and affect water quality. Private use of public lands. Even though some of the people who live along the shoreline can apply for private docks, the land along the shoreline is still public land and is open to public access. A homeowner cannot, for example, mow the land around the dock without permission, clear vegetation, or add fences or decorative features. The land should not look like private land. It's acceptable if you have a picnic table or a chair for the day. But at the end of the day, you must take those items back to your property. Those who are out recreating are allowed to walk across federally managed shorelines freely. From an environmental perspective, the shoreline is crucial riparian habitat for a variety of species. While landscaping may seem like a good idea from a property value perspective, it could wind up harming the species who depend on that land as a corridor to reach food and shelter. In addition to concerns for fish and wildlife, the Corps is also responsible for managing and preserving historically significant resources, such as archaeological sites. The shoreline behind the McNary Dam contains numerous sites that are important to various tribes, including the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation, the Yakima Nation, the Confederated Tribes of the Colville Reservation, and the Nez Perce Tribe. These resources are similarly protected by federal law and are carefully considered when deliberating on a new dock approval under the McNary Shoreline Management Plan. Within the permit. Read your permit. When you have questions, you can contact a natural resource ranger and ask them to clarify what it says or what the expectations are. The most important thing a homeowner can do is take the time to read all the way through the permit and become familiar with what they can and cannot do. Familiarizing yourself with the permit can go a long way towards avoiding misunderstandings in the future. Make sure there's nothing in direct conflict with your permit, as that will put you at risk to lose your boat dock permit. Please follow the rules. The process of getting a permit to build or keep a boat dock can be time-consuming, as the Corps must evaluate the effects of each individual proposal on environmental and cultural resources. Proposals may need to be altered so that construction plans meet regulations. Once approval is given for construction of a new dock, additional coordination is needed to make sure construction occurs within a time frame that won't affect the fish swimming up or down the river. Often this process can take up to a year and involves applicants paying administrative fees to cover the time spent processing requests. To ensure the most efficient outcomes for all parties, it is crucial for applicants to keep clear lines of communication open with the Corps. For those interested in learning more, information about the McNary Shoreline Management Plan and boat dock permits can be found at nww.usace.army.mil. You'll also find a pamphlet outlining the guidelines for property owners who live adjacent to federally managed lands. Those with questions can contact the McNary Natural Resources Office at 541-922-2268 or the Walla Walla District Real Estate Office at 509-527-7320.